How money got free. Bitcoin in the fight for the future of finance. Brian Patrick Eha and number 8217. Definitive History. Oneworld. 2017. Goes a long way in answering questions on what Bitcoin is, explaining its origins and detailing how this all happened. Introduction to the Satoshi Revolution. New book by Wendy McElroy exclusively on Bitcoin. comBitcoin is a drama unfolding in Our TimePodcast host Joey Clark in an archived version of his terrestrial oadcast from an FM Montgomery, Alabama station. During an interview presented Brian Patrick Eha and number 8217. Rhymes with yee-haw. Prose as cinematic, movie-like. My second full reading confirms as much. The go-to early history of Bitcoin often cites Nathaniel Popper and number 8217. Bestseller from last year now in paper. This is no doubt due to Mr. Popper and number 8217. Platform as much as anything else. And while Mr. Popper and number 8217. Account is fun and entertaining, he presents Bitcoin and its nascent community as curiosities, and readers are often outside looking in. They're in number 8217. A place for that and number 8212. Everyone knows characters within the ecosystem. Bitcoin, even now hovering at its 6K price, is an eccentric idea. Mr. Eha, on the other hand, DOESN and number 8217. Wallow with the weird. He catalogs strange, for sure, and notes the goofs and creeps, but quickly moves his arc to meet substance. There is real there in Bitcoin as a network and concept. Bitcoin as a currency. Nearly a half dozen names familiar to readers round out Mr. Eha and number 8217. 450-plus page turner. Thankfully with copious notes and an index. Gavin Anderson, Hal Finney, Roger Ver, Charlie Shrem, Eric Voorhees, Ira Miller, Nick Carey, Barry Silbert, Amir Taki, Ross Ull, ICHT, Cody Wilson, for who moved the financial world to settle in after some technical discussion. Mr. Eha plucks for Bitcoin players from the above. It in number 8217. A nice number. Any in number 8217. Able to give Barry Silbert, Nick Carey, Roger Ver, and Charlie Shrem the space each deserves. All of them born in the U.S. White, male, and under 40 years of age. Though that in number 8217. Not ever really a point of the book, and just something I recently noticed myself. Means readers get a peek into a seemingly homogeneous world, surprisingly varied and diverse. Backgrounds of Christian fundamentalism, best and itis type environments, to wanderers, bleeding hearts, and erased observant Jews struggling to eak from parental control. Help readers not Bitcoin-centric get a feeling for what types of personalities are drawn to these ideas. We follow the men through their first mover positions in the space. Travel along as Bitcoin hits some growing pains, and each of their lives appears to dip and rise like the price itself. Only to, of course, rise again. Mr. Silbert remains a force to mainstream Wall Street Bitcoin. Mr. Carey plugs away at his philanthropy. Mr. Ver is as obstinate and visionary as ever. Mr. Shrem, well, his story might be the most compelling on a human level, without giving too much away. Charlie Shrem is our canary in a real-world mine shaft, a one-man warning wrapped in a morality play. He and number 8217. Still not even 30 years old as of this writing. And so there is going to be much added to his saga. But those heady years make for great reading either as an initiation or remembrance. Lastly, patronized Oneworld Publishing. 1 and number 8217. Show the independent London house its gamble to respect our community pays. My feeling isn't across the pond. Oak, where long expository writing is valued, is really the only publisher around who would allow so much fine-tuned detail as demands. If we want more, we in number 8217 re going to have to support such risks.